Hey, what's up everybody? It's your boy Ryan here. So today's video will be text to speech. I'm really tired to record with my voice. I've been doing so much today, but I hope you at least enjoy it. I think it's gonna be around like 30 minutes or more. So yeah, stay home, stay safe, and see you next time. Peace out.
Shaki's rip-off bar, Sabeti Archipelago. In the bar were only two people, one woman, and one man. The woman with short black hair and black eyes. She was wearing a pink spider shirt and white jacket on the top. On the bottom some black and yellow pants as well as a white skirt. Her name was Shaki, the owner of the bar. The man with long white hair and interesting beard. He was wearing a white long coat with a simple yellow shirt and green spotted pants. His name is Silvers Rayleigh, also known as Dark King Rayleigh, first mate to the Pirate King. Guess what, Rayleigh? I saw Red Hair's ship on the horizon a while ago, Shaki said smoothly. Oh, is that so? He probably just wants to tell me about his trip to the East Blue, or some great booze he found on an island, Rayleigh said with a smile. That's probably so, she replied. Rayleigh. Shanks yelled, busting through the door of the bar. I've got to tell you a story. Rayleigh was very surprised. He was ready to listen. He didn't expect one of his old cabin boys to come back to the Grand Line with no arm and his favorite possession gone. When he asked him about it, he expected the room to darken, but no, it was instantly lightened up at the mention of it. Shanks then went into detail about a boy with Conquerors hockey at the age of 6, and a dream to remember. Maybe I need a vacation. I want to see for myself this Luffy kid, Rayleigh thought. And Shaki sensed this as they watched Shanks sail away. I didn't expect him to give his arm up. That Luffy must be some kid. Shaki said and got a simple yeah from Rayleigh. You're gonna go to the East Blue, aren't you? Rayleigh contemplated for a moment and said yeah. Shanks said even he felt the blast of hockey. I want to see the power too. And who knows? If I like him, maybe I'll train him, and help him accomplish his dream. At the last comment, Shaki's eyes went wide and then put a fond smile on her face. Very well, I will see you when you get back. As soon as Rayleigh got to the calm belt, his boat was destroyed by Sea Kings. So he had to swim to the nearest island. What was that island called again? Oh yeah, Dawn Island. So he asked around, and out of everyone only one person knew what it was. She said that it was a couple of islands north from where he was. He thanked her and headed toward the island. Fushua Village. Excuse me, is this Dawn Island? He asked the fisherman. Yeah, but if you're looking for the famed cleanest city, it's on the other side of the island. The fisherman said, about to go back to work. That's okay, I'm looking for a boy named Luffy. Do you know him? Rayleigh asked the now tense fisherman. What do you want with Luffy? He said, and Rayleigh backed off. I'm sorry, Shanks wouldn't stop talking about him. I just wanted to meet him myself. The man visibly relaxed at the mention of Shanks and sighed. He'll probably be at the party's bar, the man said, pointing towards the bar and then going back to work. Thank you, Rayleigh said before going off to find the party's bar. Bar? Why is this kid in a bar of all places? Party's bar. Makino, I'm back. Luffy said, giving Makino a hug. Welcome back, Luffy. Did you learn anything new? Makino said, giving a hug back and then getting some food for a hungry Luffy. Yeah. You wanna see? I call it the water pistol. Luffy said excitingly while eating food. Sure. But after you eat and I clean up. Okay? Makino said, and Luffy pouted before going back to his food. Makino noticed someone strange come in. How can I help you? Are you new around here, sir? She said to the strange man. No, that's okay. My name is Silvers Rayleigh. I was wondering if you knew a boy named Luffy. As soon as he said that, Makino immediately tensed and said, what do you want with Luffy? She said in a forced calm voice. I simply just want to meet him, Rayleigh said to the tensed woman. I'm Luffy, old man, Luffy said, finishing off his food and turning towards Rayleigh expectantly. I see, I want to talk with you. Can I? he said, guessing that he will just to get him away from Makino. And he was right. Luffy responded almost immediately with sure, let's go, and they headed to the beach towards the woods for some privacy. So who are you, old man? And why did you want to meet me? Luffy questioned. My name is Rayleigh. I'm here to meet you because Shanks wouldn't shut up about you, Rayleigh said matter-of-factly. You know Shanks, old man, Luffy said, resulting in a bump on the head. Don't call me old man. And I wouldn't have said it if I didn't know him, Rayleigh said to a Luffy who was cradling a bump on his head until that turned into confusion. Huh? How do you do that? Luffy asked and then got a look of recognition. Was that Haki? Rayleigh was shocked, then a question came to mind. Hey, Luffy, why do you want to be the Pirate King? Do you want to conquer the Grand Line? Huh? What does conquer mean? Luffy asked, tilting his head to the side. Cursing himself for using words he didn't know, searched his mind for a definition, finally finding one, he said. It means to take something by force. And then looked at the kid expectantly. Luffy answered his question filled with confidence. I want to be the Pirate King because he is the person that is the freest. Right? Suddenly Rayleigh remembered his old captain. Ha 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 ha. Well, then Luffy, I have an idea. I want to help you achieve your dream. How about I train you in all that I know? Rayleigh said, wiping the tear out of his eye and cheering up because of the boy. Sure, what will you teach me? Luffy said after thinking a while, resulting in his head turning red. Well, first off, you are going to get smarter, and the rest of it is a surprise. If I told you, then it wouldn't be a surprise. And before you ask how much I know, let me tell you that I was the Pirate King's first mate. Rayleigh said, and Luffy's eyes lit up. Cool. Luffy said with stars in his eyes. Wait, how am I going to tell Makino? Don't worry about it, I'll tell her. You tell your parents, okay? Rayleigh said, and Luffy shook his head. Oh, and why not, brat? Rayleigh asked. 'Cause I don't have any parents. I'm all alone. Luffy said sadly and looking at the ground. I see. Do you have anything to pack? When your stuff is packed, wait for me at the docks, okay? Rayleigh asked, and they both made their way back to the village. When they got to the village, Luffy ran towards his dark and lonely house to gather his things, and Rayleigh headed to the bar. When he got there, excuse me, Makino was it? Anyway, I just wanted to tell you that I'm taking Luffy with me, Rayleigh said, and walked out the door and toward the docks. As he did that, he heard panic yells back where the bar was. He got to the docks and saw Luffy with a small backpack on. You ready to head out, Luffy? Rayleigh asked, and spotted a dingy a little ways away. And they started moving towards it. Wait, why are you taking him? Why are you doing this? Makino asked pleadingly while also starting to cry. Luffy, as soon as I grab you, act like you're knocked out, got it? Rayleigh said quietly so only Luffy can hear him. Then spoke louder as he grabbed Luffy. 'Cause I want to. Rayleigh replied as Luffy got bored and fell asleep. Rayleigh got in the small boat with Luffy and put him down gently because he felt him go limp and assumed he was asleep. Rayleigh then set off towards the calm belt with a small dinghy and no food. A few hours later. Oh Luffy. Where are you? If you're hiding from me, you'll get the famous fist of love. A large man wearing a Marine Vice Admiral uniform yelled, walking toward Party's bar. This man is named Monkey D. Garp, and Luffy's grandfather. Garp didn't notice the villagers talking and whispering about him and his grandson. Garp walked into the bar and was met with a crying Makino, and he instantly jumped into action. Makino, what's wrong? Talk to me, he said in a concerned voice. She took him, and I couldn't stop him. She managed to get out before crying again. It's okay, Makino. Who took who? Just calm down and tell me everything, okay? Garp said, and successfully calming Makino down so she could talk. A man who I think was named Rayleigh came and told me he wanted to talk to Luffy, Makino said, and then said the rest of the story. By now Garp had many emotions running through his mind. He knew he probably couldn't save Luffy because he'll disappear, but that's not what he's worried about. He's worried that Rayleigh found out about Luffy's father. It's okay Makino, it's not your fault, I should have protected the village better. Here take this, it's called a Dendanmashi, you can call someone on it, see? Garp then dialed from his Dendanmashi and they heard a Peru and a gacha before Makino heard Garp talking through it. If any trouble happens here call me on that, okay? Now I gotta get back to Marineford, Garp said as he left towards Marine HQ. When Garp got there he immediately went to the Fleet Admiral's office. Sengoku, a man with a long black braided beard and black poofy hair, groaned when he heard Garp stomping toward his office. Soon enough Garp smashed through the wall and then fixed it without saying anything, but what surprised Sengoku was that Garp wasn't laughing or smiling about how cool of an entrance he thought that was. No, he was clearly frowning and troubled by something. Sengoku, I have a personal problem, Garp said seriously, shocking anyone who could hear it. Is it about your grandson? Knowing you it could be anything? Sengoku said, motioning to chair. Did someone find out about Luffy's father? I think so, he was kidnapped by none other than that Silver's Rayleigh. And knowing him he'll disappear again before I can find him. And bring my grandson home, Garp said sadly. Don't worry too much Garp, you said he's a strong kid, he'll find his way back. Just believe in him, got it? Sengoku said, trying to cheer up his friend, and it seemed to have worked because Garp then pulled out some rice crackers and left the office, smashing through the wall, not bothering to fix it and telling some marine to do it. With Rayleigh and Luffy. Rayleigh had stopped to get supplies and Rayleigh learned that if Luffy is bored then he'll fall asleep almost instantly. He was now holding Luffy in his arms as they sailed along the sea. He was still sleeping at dinner time. Rayleigh was mentally chewing but still decided to wake him up to explain why he lied about kidnapping. To wake him up he made sure to use Haki and punched him right in the head. Oh wow, whoa, that hurt Rayleigh. Why'd you do that? Luffy asked, holding his bump. Because we need to talk about why I did what I did when we were at Fusha, Rayleigh said before bringing out books that he brought with him from the island they stopped at before heading to the Calm Belt. Didn't you do it so no one knew you were going to train me? Luffy asked, his head tilting to the side in confusion of what Rayleigh was talking about. Actually that's partially correct, I did it so you wouldn't get a bounty. Rayleigh said, leaving that conversation for later. Now I'm going to train you for about 2 years or maybe 3. First I'm going to help you master your Haki, help you work on a fighting style, and also using a weapon and making your body into one. Rayleigh said before a giant sea king rose above the water. Perfect, I'm now going to show you some of the things you'll be able to do when I'm done training. Oh. And before I start, if I train you then you will follow each and every order I give you without complaint, got it? He asked and got a nod in response. Now then, one of the things you'll know is something called the 6 powers. I'm going to demonstrate Moonwalk, Shave and the Tempest Kick, Rayleigh said as he jumped into the air using the air as a platform. This is Moonwalk. He then moved so fast that it looked like a blur in Luffy's eyes. Shave. And last but not least, Rayleigh kicked the air so hard that the air where he kicked was turned into a blade and cut the Sea King in half. These are only 3 of the techniques, there are actually 6, Rayleigh finished. Luffy gained stars in his eyes and yelled out, cool. While Rayleigh used Shave again to get back to the boat. Rayleigh knew they were pretty close to the Calm Belt because there were so many Sea Kings in the water and under them. As soon as they entered the Calm Belt he showed Luffy different things he would teach him, enjoying the visible stars in his eyes that would shine each and every time he did something. Now that I've shown you the moves I don't want my little student to be stupid, so read and study those books that I got at an island at the last island we went to while I choose an island to start your training at, Rayleigh said, getting out the map of the Calm Belt. Luffy was about to protest saying books were boring but remembered what Rayleigh said before, and picked up books without complaint. The books were about various things that any sailor should know, and a little more that interested Luffy. An example would be a devil fruit encyclopedia that Rayleigh found. A single devil fruit caught Luffy's eye and Rayleigh noticed it was the exact one that always caught his former captain's eye when he saw it. What do you got there, Luffy? Rayleigh said, and Luffy held up a picture of the dark fruit. Do you want to eat that devil fruit or something? Why does it catch your eye? Rayleigh asked, wondering what was so special about it. No, I already have a devil fruit, and this one just feels wrong, like something bad is gonna happen because of it, Luffy said, now searching for his devil fruit. When he finally found the wet fruit, he showed Rayleigh and he said, I can't train your devil fruit because I don't have one, so you'll have to do that on your own time. And he received an enthusiastic, okay. Eventually, Rayleigh had to stop searching for an island to eat so he didn't starve out at sea. When it was late out and Luffy was sleeping while snuggled into Rayleigh's side for warmth, he found the perfect island for him to train Luffy. Rayleigh looked down at Luffy and ruffled his hair while whispering, perfect. He then settled down to sleep. The next day would be a fun one, that's for sure. First day. Luffy, we're here, wake up, Rayleigh said, partly whispering, preparing a fist infused with Haki. Luffy woke up immediately because sailing with Rayleigh for all those days he has taught him to wake up or get hit. Good job, Luffy, you're learning to wake up on time, Rayleigh said with a smirk and slow clapping. Anyway, this island is called Rusukana. The place where you'll train for these next years before going back to Fushao, he said, and received a simple okay from Luffy. Luffy and Rayleigh got onto the island and they immediately got to work on two things. Luffy, I want you to run around the island until you're tired. After that we will find our base of operations, or home as I like to call it. Rayleigh said, and Luffy nodded and took off. Luffy ran for about 3 hours before finally getting tired. That's a good job. Now every morning I want you to do 100 reps of sit-ups, push-ups, pull-ups, and then do laps around the island at top speed. I may add more too. Now let's go find and set up our home for the coming years, Rayleigh said to an excited Luffy. Luffy gives a big, yay, which gets a fond smile from Rayleigh, and the two started walking into the middle of the island, coming across many monstrous animals and plants. Eventually, they came to a clearing with a mushroom-like tree and various rocks around it. They set up camp and Rayleigh went and hunted for dinner while Luffy read a book waiting. Alright Luffy, now that we've eaten, do you want to start your training? Rayleigh asked, standing up and walking towards the forest. Sure, Luffy said, throwing the last slab of meat into his mouth and following Rayleigh, knowing it wasn't a question. You sure have an appetite, don't you? Rayleigh said, a little disgusted but used to it. Huh? I do. Luffy said, clueless about how big his appetite actually is. You don't even know. Well, we'll just have to fix that little problem, won't we? Rayleigh thought, but then shook his head and began. Okay, first things first, do you know what Haki is? Luffy shook his head and Rayleigh explained. Haki is basically your willpower. There are 3 ways you can use it. There is observation, armament, and conquerors. Shanks has told me you possess all of these types. Is that right? Yeah, at least I think. He said, I used it on the Sea King, Luffy replied, nodding and sitting down to listen more. Okay, first you're going to learn observation Haki. The short version of this Haki is that you will be able to sense attacks and maybe even life, that is if you're good enough. Rayleigh explained, picking up a large stick and gathering stones into a pile. Yosh! I will be the Pirate King! Luffy exclaimed while jumping up from his sitting position. And Rayleigh hit him with the stick he found. Ow! What the hell, Rayleigh? What did I do wrong? Nothing, this is just how you'll learn. Oh, and by the way, I'll be using Haki, Rayleigh said, grabbing the stones he gathered, and Luffy got a little blue in the face before scrambling to his feet as fast as his body could manage. 2.5 years later, Rayleigh discovered a little bit into Luffy's training that he was a practical learner, making things much easier. It was so much easier that they finished half a year early than what Rayleigh had thought. Luffy was now 8 years old and stronger than what Rayleigh thought he would be. Right now they were at least 3 days from Fushao village, and Luffy was currently sleeping covered in bandages from training. Out of the 2 years he wasn't able to break the sleeping habit that he had, and was only able to get Luffy to control his eating habits to half of what he ate, but that was only at sea. On land he gorged himself with whatever he wanted or could get his hands on. Luffy was a lot stronger and a little smarter now though, so it wasn't all for naught. Luffy, wake up, we need to talk about something you'll need to do when you get back to Fushou, Rayleigh said, successfully waking Luffy up. What is it? Luffy asked, rubbing the sleep out of his eyes and sitting up. Your strength and what to do about it, Rayleigh responded, and Luffy snapped awake. You're gonna have to lie to the people there, and keep your strength a secret. If you don't, then people will start wondering, especially at your age, why you're so strong, and you know the rest of what would probably happen. And don't forget about that devil fruit of yours, he said, and Luffy grimaced at the lying part but still nodded in understanding. I know it's gonna feel really weird using it again, Luffy said, stretching. Maybe I should try out my devil fruit to see if I can still use it properly, he said, seeing a bottle in the distance, and murmuring water pistol, while making his hands into a gun shape and shooting water bullets at the bottle. That's pretty a creative move, how did you come up with it? Rayleigh asked Luffy, who was cheering that he did it and that it didn't fail like he thought it would. A dream. It was really white though, Luffy said, settling down on Rayleigh's lap. A dream? Rayleigh asked, wrapping his arms around Luffy, making him comfortable. Yeah, Fishy and Shadow Guy told me what to do, but I had to practice to do it right. I was really bad at it. I got to name it though, Luffy said sleepily until he fell asleep and Rayleigh was left confused. 3 days later. Alright Luffy, I've decided that you're going to take the Denji and I'm going to swim to a couple of islands that way, Rayleigh said, pointing south. Why couldn't you come back with me again? Luffy asked, not wanting him to swim. I could just do moonwalk over there, he said, getting ready to jump into the air. Rayleigh held on to Luffy before he could do it and said, because I kidnapped you from the village, and you falling out of the air is suspicious, not to mention weird. Luffy grumbled but understood. They were currently just out of sight on the horizon of Dawn Island and more importantly Fushou village. Rayleigh jumped into the water and said goodbye, swimming a couple feet before Luffy called out, thanks for everything Rayleigh, I'll see you again sometime. Rayleigh waved towards Luffy and starts to swim again with a fond smile and tear as he recalled the time they spent together while he was training. Well, now I'm bored. What am I supposed to do? I could sleep. Yes, that sounds great, Luffy said, falling asleep almost instantly after he finished the sentence. Fushou village. Here's your food, sir, a familiar bartender said, serving lunch to a customer. The villager said thanks before digging in, leaving Makino to clean some glasses. Ever since the kidnapping, she hasn't been the same. She is a little colder now and not as polite. Garp, calling to check in? Ever since Luffy's kidnapping, Garp has checked in every week without fail. Never stopping on trying to find him, he still comes back to Fushou every once in a while and goes up into the mountains, but no one knows why. Yeah, how are things over there? Garp asked, and if you listened closely you could hear him eating rice crackers. Pretty normal actually, just working, and Makino replied, getting cut off by a villager busting into the room where Makino was talking, yelling Makino, making both Makino and Garp worried. Calm down Fred, what's wrong? Makino asked calmly, but inside she was freaking out. You're never gonna believe it. The mayor wants you to see it. Come on, I'll lead you there, Fred said, motioning for her to follow him. Makino started toward the door but heard a shout, hey, I want to know what it is too. Bring the mashi with you, Makino, Garp said. Makino smiled, then left with the dendanmashi in hand. Fred leads Makino to the docks where Mayor Whipslap was waiting. Oh, Makino, you're here, thank goodness. This little Denji came into view on the horizon a few hours ago. When it finally got here we found him in there, the mayor said, pointing to the small Denji. When Makino got closer she noticed a small figure in the boat. A child? As she got closer and the figure got closer she saw who it was and she almost dropped the dendanmashi out of shock. What is it, Makino? Why'd you go silent all of a sudden? Garp asked, concerned and pausing in eating his rice crackers to listen. Garp, it's Luffy. Luffy has come back, Makino said, tears of happiness falling down her cheeks. Garp dropped his rice crackers and almost broke down and instead asked a question which they were all thinking, how was he injury-wise? He's covered in bandages and he may be unconscious, Makino and Garp grimaced at the other end of the line. Alright, I'll be there as soon as I can. Makino, I assume you'll be taking care of him until I get there. Garp said, already heading towards Sengoku's office to get a vacation. Of course, she whispered and carefully picked up Luffy and walked towards Party's bar. When she got to her spare room she immediately started treating his wounds. And since Luffy and Rayleigh didn't exactly have anything but bandages to treat wounds with, Luffy's wounds were pretty bad and possibly infected. Luffy, what happened to you? Makino said, deeply concerned with Luffy's wounds. She disinfected and wrapped almost his entire body before she was done. When she was finished, a group of concerned villagers and a bandit family a ways away staying out of sight were swarmed around the bar. How is he? Is it bad? Some villagers asked and the bandits got closer. He'll be okay now. I just wonder what that man did to him. Makino said and the villagers gasped. She didn't say anything bad. The villagers all thought. What do you mean, Makino? Mayor asked. His wounds would have been infected if he floated there for another day, and I had to wrap almost his entire body because of the wounds he had, she said, and everyone gasped, even the bandits. After that, the bandits left out of respect. Well, we'll just have to ask him when he wakes up, right? He's a terrible liar anyway. Fred said, and the villagers let out a chorus of yeah. After the little meeting the crowd dispersed and went back to work, but with Makino checking on Luffy every once in a while. Same time with Garp. Garp was going towards Sengoku's office worried about Luffy and not seeing where he was walking. Sengoku was ready ever since Garp came in that one time telling him about his grandson. He was ready to give him a vacation for the first time in a long time. Sengoku, I need a vacation. He did it. He made it back. Garp said excitedly, shocking the fleet admiral. Fine Garp, I'll give you 2 weeks and only that, Sengoku said, a smile pulling at his lips. When are you leaving? And you better be back in 2 weeks. I'm leaving now of course, and I promise to leave the island in 2 weeks, Garp said, heading towards the door that for once he didn't break. Oh, and Sengoku. Thank you, he said, and then shark teeth. In Luffy's mind. Welcome back, little one. Oh, it's you guys again. What am I doing here again? Luffy asked, walking towards the two. Hey Shadow Guy, what do you look like? He said, not expecting an answer. We are going to start helping you with your devil fruit again. Now that you've finished training with Rayleigh. The Shadow Guy said, which got stars from Luffy's eyes. Cool. Luffy said, sitting down to listen. Ejian noticed this and started talking. You already know how to use the water pistol, right? He got a nod and continued, today we're going to tell you the rest of the techniques. But it'll be up to you to learn them fully. Ejian finished and Shadow Guy began. First is the water whip, he said, demonstrating. That is the only one I will demonstrate, you need to find out the rest. Shadow Guy finished and Luffy nodded, soaking up all the information like a sponge. We will tell you what they are called so you have some idea, Ejian said, looking straight at Shadow Guy. Pay attention, you'll only hear them once: mace, grab, riptide, snap, guide, geyser, and summon. Those are the attacks you can learn. There are also things you can make on your own, Ejian said, and the two started moving away from Luffy, who was thinking deeply at what the moves could be. In the outside world, Garp was at the docks giving orders to his men, then speeding off towards the bar. Makino, I'm back. Where is he? Garp said, busting through the door and towards Makino. Makino threw a finger to her mouth in a SHHH motion. Makino then pointed to the stairs with a sad smile. They both headed to the spare room where Luffy was sleeping. When they got there, Makino told him his condition before going in the room. In the room, as they were walking in, Luffy sensed how strong Garp was and shot up and into a fighting stance. Garp and Makino saw this and frowned, thinking something really bad happened while he was gone. Luffy, okay, you're safe here, Makino said, inching closer to a Luffy who was now staring at her. He then looked confused and got a look of recognition. Makino, he whispered, and Makino got tears in her eyes and nodded. Makino, I'm back. I'm really back, Luffy said, jumping into Makino's arms. Garp was watching the whole thing with a smile. That smile got wider when Luffy launched into him. Gramps, I missed you. Garp almost broke down with that one comment. One thing Garp noticed was that his grandson was stronger. Luffy, I see you've gotten stronger. Let's go test that strength out, Garp said with a smirk, going to pick him up. But Gramps, I don't want to, Luffy whined, dogging out of the way of Garp's hand. Cheeky brat, Garp said, moving faster and succeeding in grabbing Luffy and walking out the door toward the forest. Okay Luffy, I want you to beat these monkeys, Garp said, reaching into the forest and pulling out several monkeys. But Grandpa, I don't want. Luffy started until he got a fist of love to the head. He has to be using Haki. How about I show him my devil fruit? Rayleigh said not to use my strength, so I'll use my devil fruit. It's a good practice, Luffy thought, instinctively getting into a fighting stance. Guess what, Gramps, I got a devil fruit. But I don't know how to use it well, Luffy said, then murmuring water pistol and making his hands into the shape of a gun and shooting water bullets at the monkeys, making the ones in front unconscious. He then used a small fraction of his speed and moved towards the monkeys, punching and blocking the monkeys. Even though it took about 30 minutes, Garp was still shocked at how it seemed Luffy was used to fighting the monkeys. Garp then asked the question he was dreading the most. Hey Luffy, do you know who your father is? That question made Luffy's head snap up because he heard the seriousness in it. No, I don't know who he is, Luffy responded, and Garp then got a contemplative expression on his face. He deserves to know, it's his father, Garp thought, then turned to Luffy and said, your father is Dragon, leader of the revolutionaries, and the most wanted man in the world. Really, is he a bad person? Luffy asked, and Garp thought for a moment, then shook his head, and Luffy then said, then I don't care. Luffy said, then his stomach crumbled and landed on the ground in a heap of limbs. So different, Garp thought before laughing and saying, let's head back to the village. Luffy was about to jump up and run towards the village, but his precious straw hat flew off his head and started floating toward the ocean. Oh, no hat is going to fall. And at that moment the straw hat flew into the ocean and Luffy jumped in after it. Luffy, what are you doing? You're a devil fruit user, you will just sink, Garp said, panicking and taking off his coat to jump in after him. It's okay Gramps, trust me, Luffy said, falling into the ocean after his hat. Under the water Luffy could breathe and go deeper than any human could, so he found the straw hat easily and headed back to the surface. On the surface, Garp was watching the water intently for any movement. When he broke the surface and climbed up the side of the cliff and said, man, hat almost went all the way down to the bottom, Garp's jaw dropped. How did you swim? Devil fruit users don't swim, Garp said very confusedly for once. I'm water, Luffy said, shaking the water off of him, and Garp tested this by punching him without using Haki. And as expected by Luffy, his hand went straight through him, getting wet in the process. Huh, what do you know, you really are water. Well, let's go back to the village. When did you get that devil fruit anyway? Garp said, acting like he didn't care. On the inside, he was just about to burst with curiosity. The day I met Shanks, Luffy said simply, which made Garp falter for a split second. Red hair Shanks was here, Garp said, and suddenly Luffy said, eating all his food in record time. And then Garp started eating his food. When they finished, a group of villagers came in and started talking to Luffy all at once. Stop. I can't understand any of you, Luffy said, shutting the villagers up. Okay Luffy, what happened to you? You had so many injuries, a villager asked, and there were murmurings of agreement throughout the group. He took me to an island in the calm belt filled with beasts the size of dinosaurs. He put me in the middle of the forest and made me fight them, he said, and the villagers' jaws dropped and Garp's eyes went wide. He knew the island he was talking about. Luffy was good at half lying, but full-on lying is where he had trouble with. The next days that Garp was there were filled with training, laughs, and reuniting. On the last day of the 2 weeks, Garp got a warning call from Sengoku, and because of the whole ordeal with Rayleigh, Garp decided Luffy was going to live in the mountains instead of the village. "Don't tell Garp, but I'll come and visit you every once in a while, okay?" Makino said, and Luffy nodded. They hugged, and Garp and Luffy set off into the forest. He then gave Luffy a couple of fists of love and continued on toward their destination. "Who's Ace Gramps?" Luffy asked, ignoring the bumps on his head and walking on. "Well, he's my. Oh, look, here we are. This is the Mountain Bandits, the Didon family. You'll be staying with them," Garp said, and Luffy forgot about Ace for the moment and grimaced at the Mountain Bandits part, and Garp ignored it and walked up to the door and started banging.